Hello, how's everybody doing?
Starting fall, you're going that helps, but.
Oh, Justin,
It's not as,
Good to see you again. How you doing?
good, thank you.
anyway.
Hi, Janet, and
All righty, it's, my watch says 2:00 at the time. I'm gonna call the Bridgewater Tree Committee meeting to order. It's 2:00 on September 9th. No public comment? No public comment? Okay,
Public comment, I go on the public.
go ahead. Name and address.
Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street. Sorry, I gotta get my glasses on. My first time to this, but I'd see what it's like. Sorry. I just had some questions about the tree committee itself. One of them is about concerns with mitigation for tree cuttings. Like how do you value a tree? I sometimes feel like it's a bribe in the sense that the developer wants to pay to be able to cut trees. And they're not actually replaced, but plants, trees, my understanding goes somewhere else in town that the tree committee feels is needed. It's not really a replacement. I have issues with that. I'd like to know how you value the trees themselves. And the other thing I was wondering, it may not be for your committee or for the town council and stuff, but when a project's being done, like planning board has something and they refer to Concom because it's wetlands. Why can't we also refer to the tree committee if there's a lot of major cutting involved? So the tree committee can review the plans on what they want to cut down. I think that would be important. I mean, if we have a tree committee, why not have that go to a tree committee, just like you do Concom? Just so they can review and make their recommendations. I think that would be important if we can incorporate that somehow in the mix of things like planning board and whatever. So that's what I would like to see if that could happen. Because what's the point of having a tree committee if you don't have any say on what's being cut down? So that's my comments right now.
Good,
Thank you.
thank you, Dan. And actually, I guess, I'm not sure, the first time we've had public comment, whether we're like the council where we don't answer, but actually your 2 points will sort of be touched on the agenda, so
Okay.
will come up. Okay, I guess the minutes are not ready for approval, so we'll have to put that off to the next meeting. Main thing of this meeting is just introducing ourselves to the new town manager. I just like, I don't know if you know me, but I just want to make sure you know everybody now. Let's go around the table. Pat Mary, yeah, I don't know if you met Pat, but he is part of a group that is really helping the town, trying to take care of the area around the and so forth. Very important. Shirley Kuzinski, chaired the BIA, Bridgewater Improvement Station, for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Very important. Nicole, she brings the average age down to this group to maybe, I don't know, 80, 70, 79, I don't know. But she takes care of the Tree City essentially by herself with help of Paul, and does a wonderful job. Since we've been a tree committee, we've been Tree City, thanks to Nicole also. Oh, there he is, Brian, and what's it now?
Thank you.
Brian McMahon, I don't know if you've met Brian yet. He is your predecessor, like, after some lobbying on our part.
Tree ward.
Pardon me?
Is this tree ward?
Tree ward, yes, he's the uncalled tree ward.
Nice to meet you. Justin. Brian.
Justin, the town manager.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Johnny. And just quickly, I think I told you in an email, this whole thing came about. When I was on the planning board, we had a couple projects that they were tearing down a lot of trees. And we asked for mitigation and we got some money, and thus excuse me, Michael Dutton set up the tree committee in order to spend the money, which became more than simply spending money. We are now a full-fledged tree committee. And we'd like it to expand more. And we have a lot of things that we'd like to see done. We realize that money's an issue, there's a lot of issues, but I think we'd like to see movement every year so that we expand this committee so that we do good. Obviously, police, fire, and so forth, they're extremely important, but also just non-tangible things in towns make things better. So we think trees are one of them. So that's us. Let's see, we have a few things. I think I emailed you a couple of things that I'd like to see done. Maybe one of the main things is that when the tree committee was set up, Michael Dutton asked us, one of the first things he asked us to do was to revise chapter 9 of the shade tree ordinance, which was in effect for, I don't know, 30 years or whatever. And we spent a lot of time doing that, and we submitted that. And he also said that we asking for mitigation money, simply asking developers for money for cutting trees down is probably not the proper way to do it. And we should have a tree mitigation schedule. And we did that also. We submitted it to Sanderson sometime last year. Tree mitigation went in sometime in the fall. We like that moved along because if we're going to use mitigation, we really need that. So I guess that's you and then the council, but that's important that process be moved on. I think I sent it to you. I'm not sure.
I don't have any
Okay,
left.
I will send it.
But part of that, I'm gonna take a little bit now
Yeah, go
too,
ahead.
so I can do a quick introduction.
Yeah.
I have met a few of you all, so one, get to see some familiar faces. I'm Justin, nice to meet you all. The reason why I wanted to come and I spoke with Josh about it is, I just want to emphasize, and I've said this for a variety of the boards and committees that I've been able to attend, is I value the work that you all do and the input that you have. These are the town managers, boards and committees and different things like. So I value the time that you're taking out of your personal lives to volunteer. Specifically, I think Bridgewater, and I can attest to this, Bridgewater values its boards and commissions, although it's kind of, some people feel like they haven't been valued, there haven't been enough outreach. Not every community has a direct liaison for boards and committees. We do with Bridgewater. Josh is that liaison. I naturally say this for everyone. I'm one person. We don't have an assistant town manager. We've reduced hours in our office for executive assistant. So I want to acknowledge that. I want you all making sure that you're utilizing Josh, who is your direct mouthpiece to me, because I can't attend the meeting. I'll try to attend as many as I can, but utilize Josh because, for example, the email that you referenced, I have no recollection of that. Josh, if you send it to Josh, Josh will put that on the agenda that I have with Josh for boards and committees or action items that need to be addressed. So that's definitely something that we need to utilize because he is your point person in those things. That way it doesn't get lost in the muck of government and me being a lone ranger right now. So in terms of my part, it really was just emphasized. I really value you all, important work that you're doing. And Josh is the direct liaison to me to make sure some of those issues that you guys would like to see move forward are addressed. Okay?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, we value Josh.
Yeah.
Got a good sense of humor too.
Good.
That's
I've grown to understand that a little bit. I need to see more of that.
That's important.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if any of you have any comments. I mean, obviously, we just want to meet you and
Yep.
have you understand what we're doing. There are a lot of things we'd like to do that we realize that probably are not in cards right now, but we at least like to put them on the table. For instance, we would like a tree survey done in town. Now, my understanding is that's a major project that may cost a significant amount of money. But at least something, we move in that direction. The more immediate, we've just been talking to Brian about the trees on the common, that they need extensive work, it seems like. And there must be talking about spraying. I'm not sure whether there's cost of what we talked about in terms of cost of spraying and so forth. But those trees are important to the town. And if some have to come down, so be it, but we want to plant new ones. And if we want to try to save them by spraying other trees, there's going to be some cost involved in that. Whether we as a, our mitigation money is going to fund that or not, it's probably not. We'd rather not use it all for one thing either. So that may be something that's going forward. I don't know if you want to give them a quick overview.
Well, on the common, we've got there are 9 beech trees there. They've all got beech leaf disease. There's no accepted treatment for it, but there are a bunch of experimental things. I thought the trees there, considering the position, they're probably worth making an attempt anyways. Should probably put it out to bid. We just started to talk to Paul about that. I've been doing some research about what alternatives there are. So there's that. I think the big challenge in the town is the ash trees. I don't know if you're aware of that, but being, mostly wetlands around here, ash is a common species, and all the ash trees in the whole entire country are dying of emerald ash borer. It's an introduced species from Asia. You can see them all around town, and very soon there's no reliable treatment for that except regular injections. We can't do that with all the town trees. Within short order, they're going to start falling apart. So that's going to be a big issue is how to deal with that. One is with Paul trying to get the utilities to do as much as possible, and then targeting the trees that are immediate hazards. That can be a significant expense. I mean, there's a lot of white ash trees here. They tend to be very large. So I think that's one of the big challenges that I see. And then we mentioned the street tree inventory. I'd like to start working on that just because I've done them before. I did Town Brookline almost 50 years ago, but it's a reliable tool for these sorts of issues. When you have problems that come up, if you've already identified the trees, you know where to go and look. So there's that. I've just started taking a class in this job, so I have a more reliable idea of what's entailed so that we're compliant with the state laws on trees and notifications on removals and that sort of thing. But that's a private project.
Good.
Thanks. I think we should put those beech trees, just considering the position, and they went over by the library, considering the value of them to the town, probably should look at least trying to do something.
Good.
So actually, I hear a couple of things there. One is making sure there's a lot of collaboration. I've seen that Paul, I know I saw Chris walking around with you all, but it's so good that there's collaboration for departments. A bit of my knowledge that obviously I haven't gone through a budget cycle with our team yet, but I want to know, Paul, like, what's our tree budget? If we have a tree budget within our department, what's your tree mitigation funds that you guys do have planned
Right.
for? So I think there's opportunity to collaborate there and
Well,
get some.
the only reason I brought it up because the mitigation funds that we have right now, we started out with roughly $27,000. And we haven't spent even half of it yet, but I mean, I see us spending money, and if we want to do, survey or something, it could be sizable amount of money.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're gonna get a lot of mitigation going forward. So maybe fiscal year 2027, maybe we could use a budget of some sort, even maybe combine a small budget with mitigation funds, which would be going forward something. I'm not sure whether anybody else has.
Just to add regarding the budget, because part of the criteria for the Tree City is that we spend at least $6 per capita per year on tree care. So Paul and I have been able to work together to, what you kind of had to go through, like find the line items that you basically were able to easily prove that it was already, we already qualify for that, but at least that could be a benchmark or a starting point if it becomes its own standalone budget item.
Agree.
Yeah,
Was it $6?
it's $6 per capita yes.
So that's times like
Our
20.
population, yes. And, obviously that's just the bare bone minimum to qualify for Tree City. So we might be able to see what other, we might be able to get advice onto what, other similar size municipalities have for their, budget for tree care. Again, most of our tree
Might have to-
care have been removing trees.
You might have to expand the definition of what tree care is.
Exactly, yeah.
We're about 90% removal,
That's what I'm saying.
10%.
I was just about to say, most of it, I would bet, without even talking to Paul, is removal.
Yes, it is. Which is where, hopefully we can, I think one of my hopes is that we can begin to transition and formalize a little more so that we can be more proactive. Because right now we're just reactive, to having to be reactive to the trees that have to come down. So perhaps things like the tree inventory could help earlier identify the trees that are diseased. Maybe we can, prioritize the ones that, need the care the most. Obviously, I think the common just stands out as those are beautiful historic trees, and you look at them in, old photographs, and it'll be very different if those were all weren't there.
Yeah.
You want to keep,
No,
any
yeah.
questions, anybody else, Shirley?
Oh, another area that I've been interested in, and I think we're coming around to it, is to get people to honor and respect the value of trees. And this is an educational process, basically. I think that we're getting there. I think that nationally we're getting there, but we still have work to do here in town. And part of that is communication. We just have to tell people, you can't cut down a street tree just because it's in your next to your mailbox and you want to, protect that. We're going to have a forum coming up. Part of that will be spent educating, but we need to get some information out to the community. And there's really no good way of doing that in this town. We thought that maybe,
That came up before. We did mention, we thought about putting a flyer at the tax bill, but they didn't want to do that. So I'm not sure how else to do it, maybe on the website or even something physical would be. She brings up a good point, because we've had street trees cut down. They're just done, and people don't realize it. I mean,
Do we have a tree bylaw or regulation that?
Chapter 290 has it in it, and talking to Paul knows a zoo, that each street is different as to how you determine whether the tree is private or public.
Yeah.
Everything within 10 foot of the setback
Well, I
is
guess-
covered by state law.
I mean, they took it, I had a dead tree in front of my house, and a zoo got to the center line and walked it off. And he determined that it was a
So
street
they
tree.
measure the actual
Distance.
kind of layout of the road.
Yeah, I think
so
that's
the road's
supposedly-
a variable width.
Yeah. So, I mean, Shirley's correct. I mean, the people should know that street trees are street trees, they're town trees. And that they can't touch them. And that's just not out there yet at this point.
But before that happens, we have to have a definite process in place so that they can know that they have to contact somebody about getting permission to cut the tree.
We don't have a tree hearing process or any sort of application for,
That,
Yeah.
that's just what I was doing
Yeah.
last week.
yeah.
You have to, there has to be two notifications, one published within 7 days of any removal of a hearing. And you have to have postings on the tree. So it's actually fairly complicated. I'm actually trying to figure out ways to get around it, because it hampers
Yeah.
the natural operations that you have.
Both directions.
So
One
a
is
couple of things with that. One, this past year, Norfolk, for example, that's the community I just came from, became a Tree City USA group. But also our DPW director was the tree warden. He was tree warden of the year. So I think I've gotten a lot more information about trees in this past year. One, I would want to sort of establish a relationship with Blair there, because I know for a fact we weren't advertising all the time. We couldn't do that operation in Norfolk.
There are some exceptions. One is that it's pedantic, but it would be to appoint you as deputy tree warden and the people who are actually doing the work, the deputy tree wardens. And then if the tree is, if we deem it a hazard, you can take the removal without notice. But otherwise, trees that belong to the town, you have to go through that process. And he may just not have been compliant, because that's what's been going on here.
Yeah, so I would want collaboration there. Always take a look at my staff and our bandwidth and what we can and can't do. So that would be a conversation that I would want to have at a later point. But what I did see was an opportunity, what you addressed, and I agree with you, is communication is difficult in this climate. It's not only Bridgewater, it's everywhere. One, we have a mixture of people, right? Some people are not social media people, but that's the way that government sort of reaches out to people, the best mechanism now. We don't have a PIO or information officer here. What I would encourage probably is talk with Josh, because I did just have a department head meeting with staff. We have a public relations firm that we've had a contract with, and I want to utilize it. So if there is a forum or something that you guys are doing, or if we need to highlight that they need to reach out to the tree warden, I would coordinate that with Josh. We could see if it's an opportunity to highlight a forum that you guys are doing, promote that on our website, promote it through the public relations firm. So that's why I encourage people to utilize Josh. I know I'm throwing some things on his plate, but I think Josh is prepared for that. And then we could look at things like that to help with communication.
Yeah, I just quickly going back to Brian's point, I mean, chapter 290 right now has fines for cutting trees down. It's been in effect for 30 years. I don't know if there's any process.
They're insignificant.
Then
I know, but I'm just saying that there's no process by hearing or anything like that, and as far as I know. In any case, I think, we can do that. Okay. We'll deal with Josh. And I'll send you the revisions that we have both to chapter 290 and tree mitigation. Okay.
The state laws were written 2 centuries ago. The fines of like
Yeah.
$50,
Yeah.
which I'm sure was a fortune.
I think ours is $500. Anyway, anybody else with?
I just have one other item to spin onto the tree mitigation. So the tree mitigation was basically what we did as a committee is we put together some recommendations for sort of formalizing if the planning board was to collect mitigation for tree removal. Again, this is private property. This is private development, that we could be consistent with that was sort of the direction from Michael Dutton. So that was sort of the formula that we did a lot of research on from what other communities do and what we kind of put forward. The only thing I wanted to emphasize is we tried to kind of write into the memo, kind of the missing piece there is that first and foremost, we're hopeful that there can be more protection of trees, more effort, to protect as many trees as possible. And that's through, sustainable development practices. One reason I personally came on the tree committee is because I, became aware of some major, total clear cutting of large tracts of forest that, have happened on private property. So obviously there's no regulatory enforcement at this point for that, but it seemed very wasteful when it didn't all need to happen. There's definitely more sustainable development practices that can be, utilized to minimize the impact to some of the trees, because once these forests are lost in the town, they're gone. So when you look at if you look at Google Maps and you look at the history over time, you can just see these large tracts of, complete clear cutting that's been done, and then just little street trees put along the street and, the housing developments and stuff. But honestly, if you were to like overlay and draw on where trees could have been protected, you'd be more than 50% extra were cut than really needed to. And I don't know how we, address that. We don't have the power to do that, but I wanted to it's more of a communication and an educational tool.
I guess my question off of what you said there is, what level of engagement has the tree committee had with CED and Shane? Have you ever had them come in? Have you invited them to come in and speak to them about
Yes.
the CED department?
Oh,
We met with Shane once on a specific project, or maybe that was open space committee, sorry, that was open space
Yeah.
committee. We did review a specific project and made some recommendations for how less trees could have been cut, because quite frankly, trees were just being cut to manage the stormwater that was being generated from all of the impervious surfaces. So we had come forward and suggested green infrastructure, more ecological stormwater practices. I think we'd love to continue to have those conversations. I don't know if it's on a specific project basis or if it's, just an overall, kind of trying to work together more.
just
Yeah,
quickly, that's a good point. I mean,
yeah,
right now, if the developer comes before the planning board and they pose a certain detention basin, they obviously have their engineers do a proper detention basin and so forth. But then it goes to town engineer, who oversees whether that's proper or not. And that's being on the planning board 12 years. A lot of times they know you can't do it that way. You have to do it this way. And that goes back and forth for 3 months before they come up with a detention basin. We don't do that with trees. In other words, I suggested at the Pat Driscoll, who's chairs the planning board. That, for instance, the hotel, they're required to have an arborist come up with the landscape design. And they're obviously qualified people, but who oversees it? Maybe it should go back to the tree warden, Paul, to the tree committee, to just check to see whether there is a, that's proper, it could be changed and so forth. We don't have that in place right now. Anybody else? And we don't want to keep you all day. Unless you want to be.
I budgeted 30 minutes. We're almost at 30 minutes. I got another meeting to go to.
We have 4 minutes.
We mentioned the forum, October 22nd, in the library downstairs, 6:30. We have a tree forum. Try to do it every year. Last year was, this year is gonna be better.
All right, that's good. That's good to know. I think that's the day before I go on vacation. Actually. I have my tree forum, and there we go. All right. Josh will know the date, and Josh will make sure he lets me know what, and go on my calendar, et cetera, what my executive system.
Or just, you have nothing to do.
Anything else from any of the committee members?
Just one other.
Absolutely.
There's a history in every town, as I'm sure you're aware of. And one of the things that have been a blessing at Bridgewater is we have a private organization who was funded by a woman in this town, long deceased. And through that money, we've been able to do some other nice things in the town, including the town common. And it was really
Reference to the BIA?
that's the BIA.
Yep.
Along with the little garden, which is down here next to what was a mobile gas station that is now turned over to the college. And so there are several little parcels like that. The fountain that's out here in front, the BIA put out there. They have done so much for this town without being recognized, and that's part of their philosophy. They don't want to brag and boast that they've done this or doing that. I'd like them to be recognized as an ongoing basis if we do anything that they have been responsible for or been involved in. For instance, every street tree on Main Street, BIA paid for, and thanks to the highway department, they were able to put it in for us. That's a big project. And so I'd like somehow keep them in mind when we do things here in the public domain, if you will. Maybe if they're not willing to, they could even be willing to help support and sponsor some of the things which they've been doing. And right now, it's kind of like the town should take over some of these things. Like Christmas on the Common is going to go away because the BIA was primary source of funding for it. And the town really should, it's Christmas on the Common of Bridgewater. The town should really be funding that. I don't think they're going to, or at least there's no movement to do that. So after 2 years of a very nice, beautiful lit up common, this coming December, we're not going to have that again. That's a shame. And it's because one organization, out of the goodness of their bank account, have provided things for this town that the town hasn't been willing to pick up. And it really is their share. It is their job to pick up.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think this year, particularly, especially after last year when we had the proposition override, its failure, is that, we do a lot of great things in Bridgewater. And I've quickly come to realize that even there's a short time right here, but a lot of it is done on the private sort of level, and not a lot of it, but a significant amount. And as you referenced, the Common, the 4th of July parade, et cetera. And a piece of that is the direction of what this community wants for itself moving forward. Because I hear you saying that the town, should pick it up. There's limitations in our budget. We may want to, but we don't have the capacity. So I think this is the time where we have to come together as a community and say, well, what direction does Bridgewater want to go into, right? Is these sort of events important to us that we are willing as a town to pick those up? That's going to be a conversation with the community because right now, for example, that's why I hesitated when I heard the deputy chief, I hesitated to put that on Paul because I've already had to reduce staff on my own budget since I've been here, right? I want to make sure I'm being transparent with groups and my boards and committees. There's a lot of wants in the community. And a lot of these wants require funding too. And so we need to make sure we're working collaboratively, having these conversations. Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? How do we fund those things? So I'm glad you brought that up because I do know BIA and a lot of other groups have risen to the occasion for this community. And it'd be unfortunate to have some of these events without
And
some of the funding. that we
Quite
have.
often, the town, if they just take on the leadership role, could tap many other organizations and bring in a larger group of people who might be willing to support or help support some of these things, instead of doing it sort of on the sly or quietly and not being recognized or getting any credit for it. Maybe the town leadership is what we need there to say, come on, Lions Club, how about chipping in on this?
I think that, again, I think it's all about communication a little bit, right? And I think, for example, if some of our boards and committees, I think over this year, and Josh and I are talking about this, is providing updates to the council over time. Maybe that's something that's brought up, right? Because in terms of town staff, at least for my end, because as part of being the head of this organization, I look at my town staff and there'll be an organizational review. We're a lean staff, right? And there's only so much you can do. We can't do more with less. And I think that's part of where I say we have to communicate to the public about what we are capable of doing and what we aren't capable of doing. That's my spiel, because now I'm getting used to it because I've had now 2 months, I think, here. And as I've had a lot of these meetings, a lot of these meetings have been requests to do more. And unfortunately, in my position, sometimes I'm in the position of saying, no, we can't do that. I love to say yes, but I have to be realistic about what we can do too, right? So I hear you. I hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, guys. Have a good meeting. Do you have
Thank
more
you
on the
very much.
agenda?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we.
Perfect. You guys will have a good meeting. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Look forward to working with you guys.
Yeah. Well,
This is yours. I want to.
Yeah.
What's your name again?
Nicole.
Nicole. Nice to
Nice to meet
Take it
you.
easy. Thank you. See you later.
Thanks for coming and listening.
No, worries. Nice to see you guys. Take care. And have a good one. See you guys later.
all right.
All right.
Really good. Okay, so the shade tree ordinance and the tree mitigation ordinance, which sort of goes to what Janet, you were referring to. Will go, I know I sent it, it's somewhere in the office, but I'll send it to Josh and he'll take care of it and get it through. I guess that has to go to the council eventually, to approve, right? Shape the ordinances if they're, yeah, okay. Where are we on the trees in the common? Are we looking at spraying at all or?
We're just discussions at this point.
Yeah, we have an
As I was saying before, there's no accepted practice for treating that disease. So my thought would be, let's put it out to bid, see what people want to do and look at that. There's a bunch of alternative programs, but there's no science behind it.
bid out to whom?
Well, that would
Was it
really be
public
more
bid?
what people, public bid, people that Paul would find acceptable.
Tree
Tree
firms?
experts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Post a public bid,
Private tree
you know,
companies.
be going,
Talking beach trees.
register.
right?
The
town
beach trees,
website,
yeah.
there's a bid opportunity.
But you said all of this is
It's
experimental.
all experimental. There's no proven treatment for this.
Have they tried treatments
Does-
elsewhere?
Yes, there's a bunch of it going on and there's a bunch of companies doing it, but there's a lot of snake oil out there. So my thought is, like I say, let's put it out to bid to 4 or 5 companies, take a look at what they offer.
Is there any history of trying some of this stuff to see what?
Yeah, they're all trying it right now.
But we don't have.
There's no research that supports any of it.
Is there any
You tell
possible
the
results?
snake oilers from the.
Well,
who were-
Paul and I have a good idea of who those people are. We'll probably make some
So we
selection
can
on that.
avoid
Yeah,
getting into the snake oil.
but it's not a proven treatment. It would be purely experimental.
And if
Has
we,
anybody given you an estimate of how long at the best of,
It will be forever.
I mean,
Oh, to before they're gone?
how long will the treatment last?
You do them annually, and as a matter of fact, there's multiple treatments. Some of the sprays require 4 or 5 sprays a year. An injection every 2 or 3 years is another process. So I think we take a look at what's out there and go from there. And we just we'll choose some reputable companies that see what their practice is. then take a look at that and see what works. You know, they're gonna be ridiculous money, no matter what you have for budget, and how practical it is. How practical is it to be spraying the common every, 4 times a year? Unless we're doing it in the middle of the night, not all that practical. Injections, the problem with injections is you keep wounding trees. It's not like us, they don't replace the tissue. It's not something you want to continue to do, especially if you're not sure that you're getting great results.
Kind of creating a new problem while trying to solve another.
Yeah, you just end up girdling the tree over time.
And if nothing's,
We'll lose them in 6, 8 years, maybe sooner, depends.
of how many?
All the beech trees. We're gonna lose them all, except for trees that unless we can find a treatment for them, we're gonna lose all our beech trees, just like the ash trees.
I guess one of the big companies though that I'm aware of, that they're probably part on your radar screen, they are working like with academia, they've had some success. Like the example I gave you, like working with South Regina University. So I'm wondering, in terms of the procurement process, I just wonder, is there a way that we can make this more qualifications based where we can have the ability to select somebody who has the experience rather than the low bidder?
Yeah.
How does that work and with the contracts you'd be looking at? Because I think like someone like Bartlett has experience.
Yeah, Bartlett would be a good choice.
Well, it all depends on what the number's gonna be if we have to go to bid.
I see.
So,
Oh, I
It's-
see.
it's gonna-
If it's less than a certain value.
What is it, $1,000 or less or something like that?
some things are 10,000, some things are 50,000.
Yeah, it's gonna be, well, like on the $50,000 range by the time we put down. It's not gonna be cheap.
Yeah,
So,
for just the common, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, individual trees it's gonna be very expensive.
That's 1 year or just continual?
It'll be like every year. Like I said, I hesitate, don't take that.
No, I
stance,
understand.
'cause I really.
No.
That's my specialty actually is plant healthcare, but I don't have any involvement in what's going on with this right now, so I don't know what the prices are, except that I'm sure it's expensive.
Sure it is too.
Brian,
maybe
how
we need to-
many beech trees are on the common?
I think there's 6.
maybe we need to choose the tree in front of the library as the,
They're all the same age. It's not, they weren't a good choice for the common anyways,
Oh.
but it's not a tree that,
So if they die, that means they've got to be cut down, roots taken out, and the trees planted.
yeah. I
That
think
in
that's,
itself is gonna be expensive.
Right.
yeah, I think that's more the choice for the tree committee is, what are the succession plantings? What's your view for what that space should look like in the future? I think some of the plantings there are not really appropriate to the site, just because of the lay of the land.
Well,
For instance, sugar maple would be a classic for New England town. That's a very dry site. You can see the maples that are there already are dying out, and that's why. It's more of an upland site. You'd like to see oak trees that'd be a little more successful. Maybe some foreign species that would be more adaptable to the sorts of challenges we're going to see in the future. But that's a view of what you guys think the space should look like.
well, what about, this occurred to me then, what about if spraying is so iffy that we don't know,
Yeah.
what about if we simply come up with a plan for the common? And we want a certain number of certain types of trees. And we have a yearly project that say, take 2 trees down, dig out the stumps, start planting proper trees for the common
Yeah.
over a period of 5, 6, 7 years.
I'd be a little more conservative on taking them down. I'd take them down as they die.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, it wasn't obvious to anybody until I pointed it out that that was a problem there. That's true for the public too. It's gonna take a little while before it's obvious they're dying. Let's wait until then, unless we're gonna implement some plans to try to save them. The only other thing that I would say going forward is the thing to be doing is not so much removing as new plantings to determine what you want the place to look like, get new trees in there in place.
But there's space for new trees?
Yeah, because we're gonna plant, 2-inch caliber trees or 4-inch caliber trees, relatively small. They can be underplanted right almost in the same spaces. And then as the beech trees decline, we take them out and let them come in.
For instance, the 2 trees you took down.
Those were hazard trees, though. That's why those came.
Okay, so what's gonna happen now? We're gonna take the stumps out and plant new
I
trees.
assume you're gonna chip the stumps and replace
yeah,
them.
we have to have that discussion on what would be replaced, yeah.
All right, is that something we should be thinking about right now for the fall?
I think that's moving too fast.
Okay.
I
Okay,
think
no,
we
I'm
can
just, I'm
slow it
throwing it
down
out, I'm
a
not-
I had a suggestion that I would love to put our heads together and figure out how we could actually, even if it's a small budget, get someone, an external contract, basically to actually do a study of what we have, what is its condition, and I'm sure that they could work with you, but to basically come up with a plan for
replacement.
the replacement, long-term, make recommendations. I mean, I know that's done very often, like at the universities that I work with, they'll hire.
I can do I already did a walkthrough with you guys and I can do an analysis of the trees that are there off the top of my head.
Yeah.
The plan about what's going forward though is more like a landscape architect.
Yes,
Do you guys
that's
have
what
a
I'm thinking.
landscape architect for the town?
No.
What goes on?
There is a woman who has been working with the town on the open space there, but I mean, there are some landscape architects that definitely specialize in these like
Oh, certainly.
heritage tree plans, and yeah.
Certainly, and I can recommend trees myself. I just don't want to impose my own personality on the town's tree. I think it's
Right.
more appropriate for somebody who does design.
I agree, because they will put into perspective the history.
Yeah, it has to have
the
that New England look.
conditions, yes,
And
like
yet-
they will piece it all together, everything from like how it fits in with the architecture to down to the how they would be maintained and.
That's usually
Yeah.
where architects have challenges, more on the end of what we're talking about, plant
Yeah.
healthcare and the disease and
Agreed.
insect issues.
I really support that we take our time and plan this out. This is the town common. It's been there for several hundred years. We hope it's going to be there for several hundred more. We want it to be a landmark,
Yeah.
not just somebody's garden kind of variety of trees.
Exactly, and you don't want it, you want it to look like a New England town common. You don't want it all planted with Asian species because that's not appropriate.
Right.
The challenge is that all the native species are dying out.
I know.
We're going through all these things, the ash trees, the hemlock trees, now the beech trees.
And they would work with like a succession plan too, because obviously we would keep everything, you keep it until it falls down or has to come down at the very, very end. But there is a succession plan. They could start to grow an understory, like,
That's
so that
exactly
it's
what-
not all of a sudden it's just gone and then you've got nothing and then you put a little tiny tree in and it's like.
Okay, so what we're saying then, I get what I'm hearing, is correct me if I'm wrong. That the common itself, in terms of replacement trees, we wait till the spring, we talk
Oh,
about.
yeah, I don't see anything
Okay.
coming down on the
Okay,
common
all right,
now.
okay.
No.
Don't take, there's no
I'm
reason to.
just throwing this out, just saying, that we're not doing anything right away, we just wait till the spring. And that we look into the price of spray. Not necessarily that we're gonna do it, but we just look into whether we want to spray or not. But then we also come up with some sort of plan, 3-year plan, a 4-year plan of what we're gonna do the common going forward. But not simply cut trees down, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
I would recommend, we're only gonna cut trees down when they die and become hazards.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
We're not gonna be in advance of it, and then, but you do need, there should be a design for what the common looks like.
Absolutely.
Pat, you want to say, something?
I was going to say the treatment decisions will be up to Paul and Ryan.
they will recommend to us what to do.
Depending on what.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Depending on where the
talking about,
funding-
I'm sorry, talking about
Yeah,
the spray.
budget.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
the funding
right, yeah,
comes from, I mean, if the
yeah.
committee's gonna pay.
Yeah.
It's ultimately up to you guys.
yeah.
If the town's gonna pay, take it to them. It's just
Well,
gonna come out of the-
Remember you said that there is money,
There is some money.
there's some money
set
that
aside for
Michael left,
downtown trees.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just an aside, folks, I try to do a little research on the common itself, of the old Bridgewater Circle site. There's not much on it, but I did find out, surprisingly to me, common did not exist till 1847. You would think it's revolutionary times, but it wasn't there. I didn't realize that.
It's the old tragedy of the commons.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, we all set on that?
We're gonna have a master plan, however. We're not just gonna do it helter
I
skelter.
agree 100%. And
Well,
we have to figure out how to budget that, whether we can find a grant maybe to support that study or something, but because it will cost if we have to hire a landscape
Right.
architecture firm to help us on that study, there will be a cost that we don't have a budget for right now, but I feel like we should very strongly keep find a way to get a budget to do that, whether it's in part from our
I agree.
mitigation funds, whether we get a
agree with that.
grant.
Okay, wait, let's make clear what we're talking about. First of all, you guys are gonna look into the cost of spreading, right?
Let's get an idea.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the next meeting. Now we're talking about a
A
landscape
long-term.
architect for
You get
an overall plan.
use.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay,
Multi-year kind of project. It's not.
how would we look into it? You guys would look into
As far as how it can be implemented, we can figure that out, but we need a design for what the common should look like.
Okay, I
Right.
need a vote on this then. I need a motion and a second that where you want to look into possibility of hiring a landscape architect to give us an overall plan for the common. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion?
I
My
think we
question,
Need to create something, like a scope of what we would be looking for them to do, so we can kind of develop a budget of how much we think it would cost. In other words, we have to, if we would be putting it out to bid to a landscape architect, they would need to know
What we
what they're
want.
doing. What are, we could say an assessment already exists about the health of the trees. You could work with the tree warden to help identify a succession plan for, whatever it is, but I think we would need to have like at least a bulleted scope of what the extent that we would be asking them to look at for this planning study. Maybe it's just the extent of the downtown area or just the common itself.
Hmm.
But
I
Well-
would say incorporate that whole square, all the street, everything in that area.
yeah,
We've got other trees that will need to be replaced too, all the ash trees along the street are dying.
yeah.
Well,
Those were all
okay.
planted
Wouldn't want the
20, 30
public-
years ago.
To misunderstand that we're thinking of just.
What do you want that space to look like in 10 years? That's essentially the question.
We want it to look like.
We want it to look the way it looks, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's just that we need it's more of a replacement plan. That we can't just cut things down and put whatever there. We need a plan to guide the common as we lose the trees. What is our vision and how do we replace it?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's sort of the same thing.
It's a,
If we put out bids for a landscape architect, what are we telling the person to look for? I'm not sure we know that yet. But you talk about an overall plan. What, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, I'm not sure what we're doing here. That makes-
We want to preserve the classic New England look of that square.
Okay,
That's what we're looking for. So, so we need a planting plan for that as things change. I can tell you what trees we're gonna lose. And then go from there.
well,
And a landscape architect would come in with suggestions for what would be appropriate trees for a town common with a history, past and future.
Well, would that be the same list that we've given to the planning board? The trees that developers can put in?
no, that would be separate. I mean, the planning board has specific trees that we recommend for this area,
For
not the common in
developments, yeah.
particular. But
Yeah.
well,
the
we're
common
talking
is
a
a
decent
little
amount of money
bit
here, aren't we? That's for a landscape architect to do this.
Lots of money too, yeah.
What are we talking about here? 10,000?
How high is the sky?
no, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if we could keep it, it depends if you keep it very high level. If you start drilling into the details, like you want them to create, like a palette and planting plans and this and that, it will get more expensive, but perhaps you can bite it off in little chunks, if you could give an initial amount to do like a visioning study and then drill into the details over time. I mean, I see these plans come forward all the time from other towns. I see them at universities. I see them, it's a very common thing. So I could get some ideas of a budget from some of the landscape architects that I work with, or like what they have seen in other downtown areas or other campuses, which have like little quads and stuff. That would be a similar idea.
All right, we have a motion to look into getting.
Explore, yeah.
What?
Explore it.
Mhm.
Explore it was the word I
Yes,
was gonna use.
okay, yeah. All right, and You guys would do it? You would send out the,
We're gonna get quotes on treating the beech trees.
no, I'm talking about the landscape architect.
Oh, well, you seem to have a handle on landscape architects, so you might have some.
I can
People you
speak
can
to some
recommend.
too, and then maybe, maybe you have connections as well.
All right, then we need a vote on this then. How many in favor? Raise your hand if you're in favor of looking into a landscape architect. Getting an idea of price to give us a futuristic plan for the common.
So there are all sorts of issues that go along with that. Accessibility will be incorporated. That's the sort of expertise you get from those sorts of people. That you comply with the regulations for that kind of a space.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, passes then. Then if you can get it at the next meeting, fine. If not, we go on another meeting.
No, we have to move quickly on the treatment thing.
The
so
spraying is
definitely have
different,
that.
that's
Right,
like an
the spraying's
immediate, yeah.
Pat,
We keep asking about the money that the town has for the tree committee. Can someone find out how much it is?
yeah, Paul, you didn't say it was that much. I think you mentioned 4,000.
Oh, is that it?
Let me give you an answer at the next meeting. I don't want to say without being sure.
I really
I
think
can
that
get a
we
total
might
balance on it.
pursue grants for as much as we can on this. And having historical value might be a leg up in terms of.
That's an excellent point. In fact, we're a tree city.
That's
Gives
what I'm
us-
wondering,
yeah.
yeah, maybe I could reach out actually to DCR. Ask about some of the grants that might be available for these kind of studies, because that's usually where the money comes from. You know, sometimes there's like a tiny kick in from a group like ours or whatever, but other than that, yeah, they're usually funded by grants.
I could do
And
that
the
too.
landscape architects that would be responding to it would be aware of the grant, so they would tailor their scope to, so that they, they're not gonna make any money on it, but so that they can at least break even. That's usually what people, what they would do.
There's definitely some money out there. The Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. There's tree planting going on all over the
Yeah.
place, and that's where the money's coming from.
If you have time, or I could do, I know the woman who gets Tree City.
Yeah.
Met her a couple times at the, I could do it if you.
Okay, yeah, and I'll reach out to like some
Alright.
of my colleagues to see how similar studies that they've done, how, what's the budget range for them,
Yeah.
how were they funded, all those kind of
All right,
questions.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay. Tree City, we're online, moving on that forward.
Yep, I haven't seen the notice that they opened the applications up, but done down pat.
We're gonna do students again.
Oh, sure.
I saw
Well,
the
then
2000
to the
I
floor, city.
saw the 2025.
No, 2024, right?
No.
Oh, it is the 2025.
2024, yeah. No, 2024. Anyway, we're all set then.
Yes.
Are you using students again?
I think we should, and that will be that poster contest, which comes out. It's always around the February vacation. I believe. When the
Don't we have
students-
to have it in by December then?
That's our application, so our application for this December will talk about what we did in 2025.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, there'll be a
that's
2026 poster contest, and I'm pretty sure it's around like February vacation, because remember with the students handing it in. I know that me getting the supplies there, so yeah, if everyone agrees, I think the poster contest has been well accepted by the students and the principals and teachers.
right. Wait a minute, I'm losing it now. When did we have it, the last poster contest?
2025,
We did.
so their posters were due
That's right.
sometime
And
in
I sent you-
February.
I sent you the
and
pictures.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's right.
And then the awards come out. We celebrate the winning posters at Arbor Day, which is in
Right.
April.
Right.
All right,
Yeah, so we won't be doing that till 2026,
Okay,
but we should
okay.
plan to do it, but
Alright.
my Tree City application for 2025 will show them that we did it. It'll give some of those pictures and all that.
okay, and
Yeah.
you and Paul are set in getting that material in by December. Okay, all set? Okay, good.
I'm gonna make sure we spend the money.
What?
I'm gonna make sure we spend the money.
$6 per capita.
That's right.
I'm sure it wasn't two,
What's-
I swear it's two.
It might be too. Well, hopefully I got
Safely.
Six just seems like way too much money.
Yeah, it does seem fun.
All right, tree planting for the
All right.
fall.
Maybe three.
We still talking Shirley about tree planting on Main Street?
We,
Are we talking about doing more tree plantings?
So we just done two removals on
Right.
Summer Street, right in the common here. But I really wanna hold off on that. Those trees did so much damage to the sidewalk there, where we're gonna spend a lot of money to replace the sidewalks there that,
I was talking about
I've
further up.
identified about 6
oh,
dead trees
further
on
up
Main
Main
Street.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yes.
Okay, are we
They
doing
have
that
been
this fall?
removed, the stumps are there, and, we can replace those at any time. I was waiting for Paul's.
yeah, we could do a
okay
fall
for-
planting there.
Yeah, okay, we all set on that then? You said 6, I think. before, right?
6 is what I identified as replacement trees for Main Street.
And you can pick them out at,
Question if we were
Weston.
ready to go ahead, but I'm just waiting for Paul to say,
Yeah, we'll
okay, to do that.
I forgot whether we voted on that. I thought we did it last
I
meeting.
think we did as well.
Yeah, so,
Shirley, did you say the stumps are there?
Yes,
So how do you plant stumps?
Well, they're so small, when we planted them, we're just gonna plug them right out.
oh, okay. Some of them are beginning to rot out themselves.
okay, then we're all set then, right? Common trees, we already talked about. The last thing I have, well, no, let me just go out of order here. The BIA talks about trees, and we're not working with the BIA. Should we be more involved with BIA? Maybe have a, I don't know, just meet with them or something, or not? What do you think? The BIA is doing its thing, we're doing our thing. I just went through my head, maybe we should do more with
I
BIA.
think it wouldn't hurt to get together with Marilee and see if we could kind of put together
Overall plan,
an overall plan.
all right.
I mean, they are still putting money into things like maintaining the fountain and stuff like that.
Yeah, they seem to be doing more things like that than actual planning, yeah. All right, the last thing I have, it's important to me right now is the forum. Yeah, on the 22nd. And my attitude is, not so much the information as making it into exciting presentation of just getting people involved, getting people out there. And I thought I could revise slightly the presentation I did in the council and simply talk about a PowerPoint on the importance of trees, in particular centering and on Bridgewater trees. And sort of make forum sort of like a Bridgewater tree thing. And then Brian is willing to talk about the common the trees on the common, which I think what he said to us today, the public would be interested in too. I mean, that we have property, the common is Bridgewater. One of the reasons we moved in Bridgewater, it's such a nice common, that knowing the history of the common and the history of the trees and how we want to preserve it could be a great draw, I think, for people for the presentation. What else? And who else? I mean, I can do a presentation in 10, 12 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure you could do yours in 15 minutes. I think it's, we could. What do you think? We're talking, again, sort of centered around Bridgewater trees.
Did we want to get permission from David Moore for those pictures?
They're all online. We don't have.
Oh,
We can
so
credit it too. I would,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll scan them and I was going to put
Yeah, they're,
credit. Okay,
if you do Google, they're there.
okay,
They're free.
So that's
I
okay.
use them
Yeah.
already. I got
yeah. You have them all, because I was gonna scan with a high quality, like some of them in the book.
Do Google Bridgewater
Oh,
Common,
okay.
then hit images, boom, they're there.
Did you get them in your slide deck or you?
I will.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so those are amazing. I
Yeah.
mean,
People will love those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the tunnel where it shows like the canopy actually created a tunnel over a lot of the streets in the
That I
area.
didn't see that. But okay,
It's probably in there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what page, yeah.
Are you going to ask the town manager to be a speaker on the forum?
why?
Why not?
Why? What's he gonna say?
Well, I'd like to see him, first of all, be recognized as a supporter of tree committee.
Yeah.
And,
No, I think that's right. No, that's good. I don't, yeah,
I don't think it has to be more than 5 minutes.
yeah, that's fine.
I
Yeah,
think establishing
Okay.
that relationship might be
Yeah, okay.
good for all sides.
that's fine. What else?
We send a basket around to collect donations for our study.
We did before, we did, you know, how to plant trees.
Yeah,
We've done that a couple times. We could do it again, I don't know. Proper way to sort of plant tree things.
Well, I'll try to incorporate something about the rights of trees, who has the right to be pruned, processes to
Okay,
go through that. Because we just discussed that.
I think it might also be a good idea to introduce our tree warden
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
and
Yeah.
And he's speaking.
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah,
It could be a chance for you to say, I'm the guy you contact if you have any questions about tree removal.
And I'll give them balls.
No, yeah, you don't want to get in
I need a number.
there.
So in that course that you're taking, Brian, will it have sample tickets to give to violators in town, things of that nature?
No, but I just spent 8 hours listening to lectures about the law and how it's enforced
Uh-huh.
by Treewood from town of Brookline and Watertown.
Hmm.
So it's a learning experience. The horticultural end I don't need, but the legal end of it I do need. A lot of it is go talk to your town attorney. See what they have to say.
Yeah, so if we did ultimately want to find somebody,
The fines and it's significant.
but if we want to get a new fine,
Well, these are state laws, so wouldn't have much impact along those lines. I'm sure the town could have its own fines for that. That'd be a different issue. These are state laws. That's the issue. They're not optional. But as I say, the fines and the punishments, they're 200 years old and they haven't been updated. It's more, I just wanted to make sure that we're compliant in case there's some liability going forward. Somebody decides they're gonna sue. You know,
But we could throw that in the forum too, the idea, we've done that before, but do it again, that there's a difference between private trees and street trees. That's a good thing to throw in.
the town actually has a lot more control over trees that are on private property than you'd think. Like I said, it's 10 foot beyond the setbacks. Control the trees, even if the root system is within that zone,
Right,
you still control.
Because those are those are so important for the actual canopy. A lot of those trees that sort of are in somebody's private property are creating the canopy over the street.
well, the present ordinance does
Does.
mention root system. The root system is under the street, it's a public tree.
I think that from the dating of the state ordinances, it's from when at one time the state was really overcut when they were having sheep. They were trying to replace trees. Trees were a rare event. Maybe not in Bridgewater because it was more swampland, but that's kind of how they designed it. Protect trees. That's their perspective.
If you go on the town website, look up the shade tree ordinance, you'll see the present ordinance, like 4 pages long.
Yeah, I have looked at it. It's just not something that sticks in my head.
Yeah, me neither, but nothing much sticks here anymore. But I'll send Josh the revised one, which we have, and I'll send it to you also, so you can look at it.
So
Go ahead.
the town doesn't have a publicly accessible GIS system, right? No. I was wondering if there's a way that we could help educate the public about like what the right of way, basically just a little bit of a definition of what the right of way is, what defines public versus private property. The fact that every road is different, some have a 40-foot right of way, some are a 60-foot, and that it's not visibly clear all the time, right? Some have sidewalks, some have shoulders, some have a grass strip. So you really need to look at mapping. I wish we could direct them to a town.
Wish you could say like assume anything within 15 feet of the road edge,
You need,
probably time, but this.
yeah,
It's way
yeah,
complicated.
it's so much
Any
more
of the state
complicated.
highways, we don't have any control over those. Parks, at least from the state laws, parks and the grounds aren't included. That's a separate issue. I mean, thank goodness in some ways because they say it's an obstacle to doing safety.
if someone wanted to cut down a tree, would they have to call Paul or try to get in touch with Brian?
So they typically call us typically, and if it's something, if it's black and white and clear, I take care of it. If I'm not sure, then I,
Right,
Brian.
If it's covered by the state law, we have to, get a notification if you want to take it down. And we have to publish it in a public, newspaper.
you're not talking about a significant tree.
No, anything over an inch and a half in
Oh,
diameter.
okay.
I've never had anybody ask to cut down a healthy tree. It's always a hazard tree, which,
Now, the others don't ask, they just do it.
But you have to have hearing, within 7 days before you're gonna cut it, before 7 days before you're gonna cut down. You have to have two notifications, one on the tree, one published, and then one in a public place.
Is somebody gonna speak to that on at the forum?
I'll try to include that in what I talk about. I can be a little more, coherent about what the regulations
I
are with
think that
that.
would be really great and a big help because people are just totally.
All right, we-
It goes back to what you were saying, no, it's really a matter of defining what areas are covered,
Yeah.
and that's varies all over the place depending on what the
Yeah,
setbacks
we'll
are.
talk about that, but we want to separate the two parts then. I mean, your common is one thing.
Yeah.
And public private trees is a totally different part. I want to mix the two.
They not only can't be removed, they can't be pruned. You can't touch them.
So it's really an awareness thing. We can't give an answer that, you know, they're never gonna be able to come out of it knowing, is this a public tree or a private tree? I think the point is that if it's in question, you need to notify, you need to do more research or whatever.
I think awareness is exactly
Yeah.
the point, because you don't want to go, out. We're not trying to go out and make enemies of people.
Right.
We
No.
just want to make sure that they're aware of what
Yeah.
the
they
regs
never
are.
said,
Reach
"Oh, I
out to
had no
them.
idea that that would have been a public tree, you know, I think it's just the awareness.
Yeah.
Hopefully people, will, you know, start to do the right thing and maybe call to get some help from the town, because it sounds like a zoo has gone out in the past and helped measure the right of way and figure out if something was on private or.
Right, did it with me,
property.
but.
Well, that was way back.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago,
I
but
mean, we could.
I knew maybe that was part of it. I didn't have to see him. He showed up one day. He did. He said, it's public.
I think the public has to know they need to get permission.
Yeah,
That's the main
That's the
thing.
main thing.
Yeah, that's the main.
They don't know that and they don't know who to reach out to.
well, then we have to tell them who to reach
We
out.
do.
Just that whatever we say, whenever there's an issue, we just say call Paul.
I don't understand why something like that size not be added to a water bill on a tax bill.
Wouldn't do it when I went up there.
We'll get it work Brian a little harder, I think. It's the only way you're gonna get it to the masses.
Justin can do it. I mean, if any, I can't force him to. Justin can do it. All right,
Can we ask, Josh, maybe, could you get from the Arbor Day Association or Foundation a stack of these
I
to
have.
hand,
I have,
to hand out?
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
They give them to us free too if we need
Yeah, I
more.
have,
I think we can get
I
those.
still
free.
have leftover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the other thing I was thinking of in the forum was a PowerPoint lecture on, doesn't have to be long, just trees in New England.
Mhm.
Just best trees for New England, beautiful trees and so forth, just a nice,
Yeah.
sort of a nice
Right.
feel, nice pictures of trees in the fall and so forth.
Mhm.
And trees not to plant in New England,
Mm.
why not?
That would be nice.
So we have sort of like 3 or 4 parts to it. Bridgewater trees presentation I can do, Brian can do the common and also the laws in a sense, separate, and something on trees in New England. What else? Think about it. We have
Yeah.
6 weeks yet.
We could get a speaker for the trees of New England. I know
I
there's a
think we-
professor at BSU
Well, we can always
that has a
get,
class about
well, the
that.
guy we had before, I forgot his name. He'll do it again.
Oh, yeah.
He'll do it. And the guy from DCR who was excellent.
He's good.
would do it. My nephew may be here, but I don't know. I mean, he's obviously in Colorado, but he's got a PhD in forestry. He knows his stuff.
Are you gonna make contact with the guy here to?
Well, we have to decide that. I mean, if we're going to do, I can make comment, sure. For the trees in New England, you thought.
Right.
Yeah, we can do
You
that.
mean the BSU
I
professor?
think he was.
Yeah, we had last
Yeah,
time.
that was good.
Yeah.
All right, that's
No,
fine.
BSU was always wanting to partner with.
All right, let's just, in terms of email, keep the forum going. Keep, It's posted in the library already. But we want to advertise this. I'm not on social media. So, I despise it, in fact. But, that's the downfall of the United States will be social media. But anyway, that's another thing. No,
I thought it was AI.
that's part of it. That's part of it. That's coming. It's coming. In all seriousness, my daughter, we have 2 grandkids. My daughter must be annoyed with me because I keep sending her articles on how to keep kids away from their phones and social media.
Yeah.
She doesn't respond anymore.
She'll have a block this one before you pretty soon.
All right, anything else? Anything new? Make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, just one other
Yeah.
thing. Do we have Brian's email address now?
I do.
We do now.
It's on the invite, on the emails.
It's on one of the
Yeah.
last ones.
It's Brian W. McMahon at gmail.com. BRIAN
Ju-
It was
Just,
bouncing back before, right?
Brian W.
That
W
was,
Oh, sorry.
MCM
was the,
AHON
And
That was
MTN.
our
No.
other-
MCM AHON
you're supposed to remember.
McMahon.
McMahon MCM AHON.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
Dempsey, yeah. It's not here.
yeah, and his emails, well, because maybe because his emails are bouncing.
No, it's working
Oh, it's
now.
working again. Okay.
He said, he didn't know why.
If you
Gmail
don't put in the
stopped.
W, you're emailing
Yeah,
someone.
that's weird.
Yeah, it's working.
If you don't put in the W, you're gonna be emailing.
All right,
this is the.
He'll be-
Just-
Yeah,
One thing,
no.
on the forum, just keep the emails to me, okay? I want to keep the discussion going. I want to really make this a good forum. All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For adjourn.
Brian, I wanted to.
See you all.
Good to see you. Ron.
Question.